guys, what's up? It's Joe Ready from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Clearwater Toyota, and guess what? I have that one sporty mid-size crossover SUV that's getting some changes for 2025. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2025 Toyota Highlander XSE. But before we get into this turbocharged, all-wheel drive powered Highlander, let's talk about what's going on here. So it's been a hot minute since Toyota came out with the Highlander. It goes all the way back to 2001, if you could believe that. Since then, the mid-size crossover SUV segment has changed greatly. Not only in what you get on a Highlander, but when you look at the competition. Now, a lot of mid-size crossover SUVs have been bringing off-road style trims. The XSE is more of sporty on-road. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for a mid-size crossover SUV, do you go with the sporty Highlander XSE, or do you go with one of those competitors? Let's go ahead, let's dive into ours and find out. Right off the bat, I love the color. Celestial silver has a nice metal flake pop to it, and with the black accents, balances nicely. Now at the front of the business, you're gonna get standard, on the XSE, standard LED lighting. So you have your LED headlights. The zonk though, is that you have old school Thomas Edison light bulbs for the turn signals, but you do have LED daytime running lamps. So you get a little bit of a mixture between the old school light bulbs and the new school LED. This should be all LED in model year 2025. As we work our way down, we actually have a little bit of functionality to our corner air curtains here. Little bit of gloss black. This is unique to the XSE trim. And no matter what Toyota you get, when you see XSE, that is going to be that top sporty trim. On the lower portion, you do have LED fog lamps. And I really like the way they put this large metallic silver splitter. Now, no matter what body color you go with, black, white, silver, red, so on and so forth, this lower lip is silver on all of them. So it's kind of nice on our celestial silver to have that color, because it does blend in a little bit cleaner. Now, as we come across the front grille, this top portion grille is unique to the XSE trim, fully functional with the Toyota badge. Working our way down, you have those horizontal bars, all functional on the lower grille. We do have an intercooler lurking behind there because it does have turbocharged power, no more V6 in a Highlander. And then you'll notice that beefy lower lip and a little bit of gunmetal metallic gray on the bottom portion. Like I said, this whole front end, grille up top, grille down below, the fog lamps is specific to the XSE trim, and standard are LED headlights. Now, as we work our way up, I like the way it's got a nice little curve to the front fascia. Then you have that canyon in the center. Gives it a great overall look. I'll be honest, the early Highlanders, I never really liked the look of them. This latest generation definitely has better style. It's gonna be interesting to see what the next generation brings. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So you're gonna get these gloss black 20-inch wheels specific to the XSE trim. So it's a multi-spoke wheel all the way around. Tires are gonna be 235 on the width, 55 series sidewall. One of the changes for 2025, this comes standard with all-wheel drive. So it's front-wheel drive base, sends power to the rear wheels. I'm gonna have Steven kind of zoom in and show off the suspension. These springs and shock absorbers are sport tuned. So it's not just a fancy front end and some wheels. You are getting a different tuned suspension. And with the all-wheel drive, this could be one of those sleepers that makes you feel good when you're behind the wheel going through the twisty bits. My biggest zonk is the flat black around the fender opening. On the XSE trim, that should be all painted. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. Now, as we work our way down, gloss black on your mirror caps, and it's painted with that metallic, it's got a little bit of blue metal flake in there. LED turn signals. I like the way they just black out flat black on the A-pillar. From the side, The overall dimensions, it's interesting because if you compare this to a new Pilot or a Telluride or a Palisade, those are physically a little bit larger. I like the little bit smaller size of this Highlander. Metallic silver on the door handles, and they painted everything. And you see how this metallic silver trim blends in nicely with our body color because it's close to the same color, but all XSEs get that little bit of silver, just like up front on the lower lip, also on the bottom portion there. Gloss black roof rails, nice and close to the body. You can get your crossbars, whatever kind of stuff you want to load up there, a cargo basket, kayak holder. You can see with the quarter window, compared to the competition, a little bit smaller in size. And then as we swing it around back, I love the way they do this long roof spoiler, especially the way it's got these indentations on both sides. What I don't love, and I got a zonk, is that rear wiper. That needs to be tucked underneath there to clean up that rear end. But you are gonna get LED taillights, just like the LED headlights. There's our XSE all-wheel drive badge. Like I said, all-wheel drive is standard. And another thing I like is when we drop it down to ground level, on the XSE trim, you do have this dual outlet exhaust, staggered tip, stainless steel, looking good on both sides. And this lower bumper area is also unique to the XSE trim. But why don't we go ahead, we saw the exterior, let's pop the hood and talk about what's powering our sporty Highlander. All right guys, we got the hood pop. We do have a prop rod. I got to zonk that. That should be hood struts. Underneath the hood, gone is the V6. Now what we have, like it says right there on the engine cover, turbocharged power. So that's a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline four, 265 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds. Top speed is governed to 113 miles an hour, and the vehicle weighs 4,500 pounds. MPGs 21 in the city, 28 on the highway, and you can tow up to 5,000 pounds with this vehicle. But obviously it's been a couple years since they got rid of the V6. In this mid-size crossover SUV segment, it's a mixed bag. Some of the competitors have 4-cylinder turbos, others have V6s. There's even a straight 6 turbocharged power with the CX-90. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this four banger and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Toyota Highlander XSE. Now remember, for 2025, it comes standard with all-wheel drive. And I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, Joe, how much is this? How much is this crossover SUV? Well, before I say anything, I just want to show you, I think this is really awesome of Clearwater Toyota, the way that when you come to drive a vehicle, you get the same treatment that I do, like the way they have that nice touch. So something to think about when you're choosing what store to go to. But anyways, back on topic. You're probably saying to yourself, well, Joe, I need something sporty. I'm not driving a boring SUV. I got kids and they need to put their stuff somewhere, but I want to have something sporty. How much is this Highlander XSE? Very good question. MSRP, the way you see it, is right at $50,392. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I love the two-tone style. So you have soft touch material up top, little bit of flat black, and then that bright red that just pops so nicely. Little bit of metallic silver. Door pocket is halfway decent for a bratwurst and a root beer to wash it down. And we do have the JBL premium sound system, all multi-speaker fashion. Now going from the door panel to the dash, the soft touch, you do get the red contrast stitching, which is really nice. There is some of this faux carbon fiber. It doesn't really look like carbon fiber, so I'm okay with it, and it's better than just flat black, or better yet, way better than gloss black. You do have some metallic silver along the bottom. You got the Toyota Highlander Twinkie tray, baker's dozen of Twinkies. more soft touch material and some great stitching. And then you slide on in. New for 2025 is the optional 12.3-inch infotainment system. It's got your familiar Toyota multimedia software, full touchscreen capability, all the different things and functions that you want. Let me throw it in reverse. Backup camera could be a little bit more clear. That resolution is not the best, and I wish the image took up all 12.3 inches. You do have trajectory lines, which are nice as well. And then we're right back where we started. Dual climate, heated seats, but no ventilated seats. Nice toggle switches for your AC control. You could also control your rear climate. Two really clean AC vents, the way that they mount those in there. Wireless charging, which is really nice. Here's your start stop button. More of that red stitching. Down below, you do have a USB-A, two USB-Cs, and a 12 volt, and a place to put 4 paydays. This is going to control your 8-speed automatic, no CVT in this thing. 2 cup holders. You have your drive mode selector switch. I'll show you that when you come over to the business end, what that does. You also have your adjustable modes as well here with mud and sand, rock, that's for the all-wheel drive, and even hill descent control. This armrest doesn't open up. Let me show you how it works. You got your stitching, semi-soft on this portion. You're going to slide it back. You got a nice tray here. This is where you're going to keep all your tokens and coins that you collect. I remember as a kid, when you would go through a toll booth, they didn't have like fancy electronic passes and stuff like that are stuck to your windshield. You used to have quarters in your car. And I remember my dad used to give me the quarters and let me throw them into the machine. This would be perfect for the quarters. I guess you could just throw quarters at people if you wanted to, especially if they're bothering you. I'm gonna say that you could fit at least one box of you could put a box of Twinkies, but a box of Pop-Tarts in this center console. You know how I know? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Here's a box of Pop-Tarts. You could actually fit 3 boxes of Pop-Tarts in there. Now that is one hell of a center console. Seats, that two-tone, love the soft-tex material, nice black. You do have electric assist for the passenger, electric assist for the driver. I'm not done yet. And then we have that power, well, I shouldn't say it's power, manual sunshade, but you of course have that power sunroof, which is really nice. I was just hoping for panoramic. Let me know if you were hoping for that for 50 G's. But why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the wheel in this XSE. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have your power seat settings, just like the passenger seat for the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall. I love the space that you have in the Grand Highlander. Not too big, not too small. You do have your leather wrap steering wheel. My only zonk is I would like to see some red stitching. Give me my red stitching. Flat black on the switch gear. It is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And I love the way it's got that 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. You have your different modes that you could go through, and the gauges change a little bit. What's nice is for 2025, every time you start up the car, it starts up in sport mode. And to me, that makes sense since this is the sporty Highlander. But why don't we go ahead? We got 2 more rows to show you. Let's get back there and see what your passengers are going to think about this Highlander. All right, guys, mid-road time. And your passengers are going to be greeted to that same great two-tone style. Are the seats, do they slide? Yes, they do. Ha, I fooled you. And they recline, which is great. Backs of the seats, you got large pockets. You can put some circus peanuts back here, maybe some now and laters. And then you have a little bit of a command center. We got our digital readout for our AC controls. Down below, you do have 2 USB-Cs. And then just like up front, the seats are very comfy. Love the fact that we have these built-in sunshades, 2 cup holders, and then, of course, you have that third row. Speaking of the third row, though, before we get back there, armrest is actually not too bad. I've seen worse, so I'm going to not zonk the armrest on these captain's chairs. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in that third row and see if a human can fit back there. All right, guys, third row time in the Highlander. And this is where it hurts a little bit, like physically hurts. I do like the little smaller size of the Highlander, but the problem is when it comes to the third row, it is very cramped back here. My knees, You can see where they're at. They're very high. Thank God I have AC vents back here. No connectivity though. No USB-Cs, no 12 volt, none of that. And then the other thing that really has me double scratching my head, why do we just have black soft-tex material back here? What happened to my fancy two-tone? Did they run out of material that day? Was this built on a Friday? You got to make sure your Highlander XSE is built on a Monday or something. I don't get it. I'm a little perplexed by that. But at least I'm not touching the headliner. But let's get into the cargo area because I want to take you for a sporty spin in this sporty Highlander. All right, guys, cargo area time. Going to do it the old-fashioned way. Hit the button. You do get electric assist on this Highlander XSE. What you're going to be greeted to is about 16 cubic feet of space with the third row up. And these seats, as you can see, are, like I showed you before, are adjustable when it comes to the recline. Pull this up, lots of room in here. This is where you're going to want to fill this up with nachos and some queso, man. That would be really good for tailgating. On the driver's side, you do have the JBL subwoofer for our sound system. And then to put the seats down, it's so simple. Anybody could do it. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Got to just time it perfectly. You can't rush the process. I like to rush the process, and that winds up screwing things up. So with the third row down, you have your 48 cubic feet of space. Fold the mid row down. That's going to give you 84 cubic feet of space. So you got quite a bit of room. One thing I'm surprised is there's no 12 volt back here. That is not fun. They definitely need to have a 12 volt. But why don't we go ahead? They say this is a sporty Highlander. Why don't you hop in shotgun, call shotgun before anybody else does, and let's go on throttle in our Highlander XSE. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Highlander XSE. And right away, I love not only the way the seats look, but they feel comfortable when you're sitting behind the wheel, nice and supportive, and just feel really good. Getting to that new optional 12.3-inch infotainment system is well within reach. And then, of course, our digital gauge cluster is very, very easy to read at a glance. I'm going to go ahead and slow down a little bit, and then we're going to go on throttle. You ready? On throttle, here we go. So you have that 8-speed automatic transmission with the turbocharged 4-cylinder. The good news is that the automatic paired with the turbocharged 4-cylinder really does provide power very well. You're not waiting a lot for the boost to kick in, and I feel like the gearing is set up nicely for the Highlander. Visibility is fantastic out the front. You got your Toyota Sensing 3.0++ with all your safety features. And just everything is organized very well in here. There's a lot of good storage places. You got your wireless charging, your dual climate control, your heated seats. And then the handling is gonna surprise you, because the good news is it's not gonna shake the fillings out of your mouth. It's not a stiff ride by any means, but it does provide you with a little bit crisper steering and less body roll, that's for sure. But sitting here at the light, like I said, the seats are comfortable. Love all the nice red stitching. And the fact that you get the all-wheel drive standard as well. Another thing is when it comes to firing the car up, every time it's automatically going to be in sport mode. And then you, if you're not in a sporty mood, you can switch it to normal or eco very, very easily. But just really a nice package all around when it comes to what Toyota's bringing in this Highlander. Even with the 20-inch wheels, it's smooth, it's comfortable. You don't get a lot of road noise, not getting a lot of wind noise. And we're gonna go on throttle again once this car makes its turn. On throttle, here we go. 8-speed drops down and we're off. And like I said, you notice that when you get on throttle, you're not getting lift up front. And when you get on the brakes, you're not getting the nosedive. That's what's part of that XSE with the retuned suspension, is that it's much more taut with the handling. And that's gonna allow you to feel more in control of what you're doing, whether you're just doing your daily driving or you're on a road trip and you're going through some twisty road areas. It does provide more responsive handling. And that's the good news. But everything, like I said, is so well laid out in here. Toyota knows how to lay out an interior very, very well. And everything is well within reach. Flat black on all the switchgear. That's another thing. There's not a bunch of gloss black in here, which is nice as well. I'm a little surprised that there's no paddles on the back of the wheel, because this is an XSE trim. But other than that, you can shift with the shifter itself manually. But it's got just enough pep for a midsize to get you up to speed. And overall, you're gonna like the driving dynamics. Plus, you got the JBL sound system, which is a nice touch as well. That comes standard when you go XSE. But I'm hoping that this has been a good, quick overall review of what the Grand Highlander, I'm thinking of, I don't know where my mind just went. We're wrapping up the Highlander XSE trim, and we're gonna get back to Clearwater Toyota, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another great day in so many ways here at Clearwater Toyota. Definitely wanna thank Steven and the rest of the team for getting us access to this 2025 Toyota Highlander XSE trim. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Would this be your mid-size crossover SUV of choice, or are you gonna go with something else? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. I'll come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Gotta get up to Stephen Flood, our very own Stephen Flood. He's working out every day. His new nickname, if you ever see him on the streets, is Big Guns McGee. So one of these days, we're gonna have to do a video review just on his physique. But thank you, Stephen, for all you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.